Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. It's very exciting to be on the stage, very, very exciting. And I've got a presentation that talks about communication, which is such an important art. First of all, let's go by the slides. The first slide says, I sold milk to a cow. We'll see later on why the title of the presentation is I sold milk to a cow. But I find the concept fascinating, that you can sell the unnecessary to someone that have already what you are selling. Think of your phones, how many phones you've got in your pockets, right? Do you really need more than one? But yet, Oman scores one of the highest countries for ownership of mobile phones, and we still buy phones. So let's see how I sold milk to a cow. My name is Stefano Virgilli. You pronounce it perfectly, actually. And I always wanted to do this one. You see, when you see all the TED speaker, right? They're putting their hands up like this on the website. Yeah, all the I'm not very creative. In fact, all my social media are actually my full name, and just remember it's spelled with a double L. But I'm creative when it comes to business. I actually started 19 businesses in 21 years, and I made clients in 40 countries. I love business so much. I started my first business when I was 16. So it tells you also my age, right? I was born in Italy, beautiful country to visit, occasionally to live in the country as well. But we are brought up with this idea that art is very important. So we get exposed to painters since the very young age. And we like to draw. Actually, it's mandatory for us to learn how to draw and how to paint by the age of 13 during the secondary school. Painting is very important because colors have meanings, but also communicating is very important because words have meaning. And I think that actually communicating with words is more fun than communicating with pictures, which is quite interesting, no? Because with colors, you always have, okay, you have multiple meanings, but you have only fixed opposites. Whether with words, you can have different type of opposites. So I say, rule number one, when you prepare a speech or sales pitch or you're preparing yourself for an interview, choose your words. And first of all, your words should go along with your tone of voice. So choose your words based on your tone of voice. For example, there are words that are very polyhedric. You can use them in so many contexts. One of my favorite words is accordingly. It can mean everything, it can mean nothing at all. For example, if you're trying to sell something to someone and a client tell you, can you give us a discount? And you can go back to the client and say, well, we will review your request accordingly. Which for the client means maybe, and for you means no way. Same word, different meaning. This is one of my favorite memes, is this guy that says, words are just organized noise. Yeah? Lazy with words, doesn't want to pick different words. You understand me, right? Not that type of attitude. You understood what I mean. Well, yes, it's like, also this one is unorganized color. But if you are lazy with words, you will end up being colorblind to words, meaning you don't know all the shades of communication and what words can mean. So don't be lazy with words. Choose your words accurately and do it according to your audience. If you have a casual audience, use frugal words. Words that don't have to over-deliver. But if you have an engaged audience that will pay attention, then in that case you can carry on with sophisticated words. What I like a lot about frugal versus sophisticated is that these two words, they are not actually opposite, but they're cooled. Whereas when you work with colors, colors are always opposite of themselves. Like yellow is the opposite of purple. That's it. There is no other opposite for yellow. There's only one. But when you come at words, frugal, for example, the opposite is extravagant, and the opposite for sophisticated is crude. But in this context, frugal and sophisticated may or may not be opposite. May is also a very interesting word because, first of all, is a month, like April and June. But also it can be interchanged with other words like can, might, cold, shall. And each of them has a different meaning. So if the kid goes to the teacher and say, teacher, can I ask a question? The teacher say, you already did. But if the kid says, teacher, may ask a question, the teacher will say, yes, you may. Interesting, right? So be curious. Especially if you are not born speaking English as first language, be curious. Literally take the dictionary and read the dictionary. It's a very, very healthy exercise to understand the difference between words. So if you pick the right words, great, check mark. If you pick the right tone, great, check mark. Next, build up confidence. Some speakers already talk about building up confidence. And standing on a stage, doesn't matter how I did my first speech from a stage in the year 2000, now 16 years ago. And still it's so exciting to be on the stage all the time because every time is a different type of relation with the audience. So building up confidence comes from what you're going to deliver. So if I crack a title talking about a cow, I walk in and everyone asking, I can't wait to hear you talk about cows. I just go, well, let's see if I deliver what you are expecting. But why the concept of a cow? I want to bring up a few things about the cow. The first thing is that the logic of the title, selling milk to a cow, is impossible. Why? Number one, it doesn't have money. Right? Number two, they produce milk, so technically they don't need cow. But think of it, does a cow produce goat milk? So you can actually sell a different type of milk to a cow. A gentleman in my city in Italy started selling donkey milk and is making a fortune. So you can always look at the other side, like I was saying, the other side of the cup, not half full, half empty, or vice versa. The interesting thing about the word milk is that since 1950, it went down in usage. So we are using the word milk lesser and lesser since 1950. And guess what? Even economically, we are drinking lesser and lesser milk since 1950. So you see, the words and the economy actually goes the same way. And actually, when we talk about the word milk, it's a positive word, right? It's what the babies feed on. It's something that it's difficult to think of a negative word with milk, but actually milk can have a very negative connotation. For example, exploiting. Like you milk the organization or you milk the money of a relative. It's also a negative connotation, but it's a verb in that case. It's not a product or an object. Another interesting word that I like a lot is related to this picture. You see an elephant and you see a mouse, and I ask you the question, who is more fragile? So the word fragile is so interesting because it doesn't have an opposite. So a fragile object is something like this remote control. If I throw it on the floor as hard as I can, certainly will break. So some people say the opposite of fragility, it's solidity, meaning I throw it on the floor and it doesn't break. But that will be like saying that the opposite of minus is equal, which is not. The opposite of fragility means that if I throw it on the floor, it actually grows bigger. And there is no such a word. In fact, they refer to it as anti-fragility. So which of these two animals is more fragile? It depends what type of strength you exercise on it. If you drop them from 1 meter, guess which one is going to break? The elephant. But if you squish them, guess which one is going to break? The mouse. So same word, very different outcome. What is the most difficult thing to break in the word? It's actually very, very tiny. It's the atom. And when we build up our words, we build them up with what we have learned as building blocks, like children. So if you are born in India and you have learned Hindi as your first language, perhaps you have a very articulated range of words and letters that you can build up because of the pronunciation is so rich. There are 48 characters in the alphabet. If you're born in Italy, we're lazy, we only have 21 of them. So you see, we don't even have J, X, W, K, we don't have all these, right? A simple alphabet, very simple. Arabic is very complex. I've tried for a couple of years, I promise you, I tried and I gave up. It's too difficult. Imagine, we don't even have the H sound in Italian. In Arabic, you have 2 of them. I can't make it, it's just too much. But I tried also with Mandarin, and Mandarin have 50,000 characters. I tried Mandarin, I can get along, I can order some food in Chinese, that's it, no? Even in Arabic, I can do it. That level of confidence of ordering food and making the effort and make you look like, great, he's making the effort, let's give him more food or a larger portion, right? But if you make the effort. English is a completely different type of approach. Between short vowels and long vowels, there are 22 different sounds, which are completely different in every other language. So we all adapt to English. And the native population of English speakers are 400 million in the world. In 2003, there was actually the overtaking, meaning that there were more people speaking English as a second language than people speaking English as a first language. Right now are 2.5 billion people that speak English as a second language. It's incredible, the growth in a few years. But every time there is a small variation of English. I've lived 6 years in Singapore, and they don't speak English, they speak Singlish, which is an interesting variation of English. And also here in Oman, it's not really English. Like, for instance, there is this word, how do you say, if two things are similar? In Oman, they say, same, same. Yeah, that's same word. Yeah. So you make use of terminology, like in Singapore, they have the grammar of Chinese with English words, they mix some Malay, the same here, right? So you communicate in a sort of English. The third step is to dub the inner voice. This one is very important, and very few talk about it, because when we talk about communication, they kind of separate what is right and what is not right. So when we talk about body language, for example, they teach you what is the body language about. If someone is standing in front of you like this, you know they probably is not very interested. But if you let that one get in the way, you might not end up achieving what you wanted to achieve. So I say, lie to yourself today. Right when you are talking to the person, lie. Like you want to sell something to this guy, it's going to be tough, yeah? It's going to be tough. Completely closure body language. So I tell myself, it's very cold, this guy. If I tell myself that he's cold, I will not think that he's not interested. So I carry on. I build up my confidence in the second step. So now I lie to myself and I'm telling myself that it's cold so that I can carry on my presentation without being too affected by this body language. Tomorrow I can tell myself, what did I do wrong? I have the time to actually think about it and elaborate a better strategy for next time. Or when people are sitting like this, what does it mean? They are ready to go, meaning you're going to be fast. So if I'm thinking this guy wants me to stop, wants me, like this guy says, just say 5 minutes, okay? So he wants me to run faster. And if I don't dub, see, the guy did like this, it is 5 minutes, and in my mind, I'm dubbing him, and I think he's saying hi to me, and I say hi back to him. That's how I dub it. So here I can think, this guy is ready to sprint. He's going to break the world record. So I don't even think of the fact that he's sitting in a way that implies that he wants me to hurry up. Tomorrow I will be thinking, what did I do wrong? You see, the guy made 5 minutes. If I'm thinking with the 5 minutes, I start panicking. Oh, how many slides I'm left? No, don't want to think about it. Don't want to think about it. I want to think they say hi to me. So another interesting thing is the choice of word from the perspective. Again, the cup, half empty, half full, or the two sides of the coin. If you are late, you can go and say, I'm sorry, I'm late. The puppy eyes, right? I'm sorry, I'm late. But you can also use a different type of approach, which is, hey, thank you for waiting. Being thankful. Some people, and it hurts me, when I hear young people that come for an interview, and they start talking, and then after a while they say, I'm sorry, I'm talking too much. I say, no, it's all right. It's all right. Don't have to be sorry because you are talking. You can say, thank you for listening. It's the other way. Because you see, at the end of the day, when you go to sleep, if you have said, sorry I'm late, sorry I'm talking too much, sorry this, sorry that, you go to sleep and say, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. But if you say, hey, thank you for waiting, thank you for listening, and then you go to sleep and say, oh, I'm so thankful for life. Everyone, yeah? Everyone is so kind to me. Number 4, maximize productivity. Someone mentioned before, Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy. These two guys are legends in sales. They sold everything, more than milk and a cow. But their communication have changed style a long time. They would have said things like, bring the attention to something else. They will tell you, like, want to sell? Ask to buy. Yes, but how? Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy will say things like, would you like to pay cash or credit card? I don't really go for that philosophy anymore. I think communication have changed. Because the moment you bring it back to cash or credit card, you take away the idea that the person had in mind. There is a better way now to communicate and sell, and the key word is getting started. In fact, if you have signed up on a website recently, you notice that they don't use sign up anymore, or register, or create an account. They don't use this stuff anymore. They use get started, get started, get started, Twitter even, get started, get started, get started, Google, get started, get started, get started, get started. Everyone tells you to get started. Why? Because get started goes along with what you have in mind. So if in your mind, someone is trying to sell you cookware, and you're thinking of yourself cooking a carbonara pasta, and you're very excited about cooking, if the person tells you, would you like to pay cash or credit card, you abandon that thought of cooking, and you start thinking, oh gosh, now I have to pay. But if you tell the person, are you ready to get started? You go along with what the person is thinking. Very successful. Number 5, and this is the last part, dodge and dance. I'm going to play a video of one of the greatest boxers in the world, just 20 seconds. This is Muhammad Ali. And what he's doing in this video is dodging 21 punches in 10 seconds while he's holding the ropes. So the guy is 1 meter away from him, try to punch him 21 times, he dodges all of them. And when he's done, look at him, yeah? Look at him. It does the dance. It's like, hey, don't do that again. I'm going to do it again. I can avoid it the whole day, the whole day. Have you ever tried to impress this guy with his body language? The guy, they always tell you, yeah, I've seen it before, it doesn't work. This guy, yeah? You tell him, yeah, me too. But can you see the difference, right? And zip, don't say anything. Until you don't see the difference, so he asks you to carry on. He brought back the ball in your court, so you can carry on with your own speech. It's the same. It's the same as Muhammad Ali. You try to hit me, I get back at you. I give you a question that you cannot answer. So now it's back to me. And you do also this. And you celebrate. You celebrate because you managed to communicate the way you wanted. Extra topic, bonus feature is this one. I work in Asia, I work in the Arab world. I consider myself very close to this part of the world because I was born in Mediterranean Europe. I noticed that when you work in this part of the world, there is a matrix where you have result and reputation on one side, individual and teamwork on the other side. When you work in Asia, it's all about result and team, result and team, result and team. When you work in this part of the world, it's a lot about individual and reputation, individual and reputation, individual and reputation. Whenever I run this matrix, someone asks, if I run it in Asia, they ask me, which one is better? If I run it in this part of the world, I say, which one is better? I say, there is no one better than the other. There is a balance. So wherever you run your communication, make sure that you emphasize the importance of the team, but also the importance of the individuals. Because in the end, the individuals are those that make the team. Thank you very much for your attention. Just to recap, choose your words, build your confidence, dub your inner voice, maximize productivity, and dodge and dance.